Rahul wakes up late every morning, which makes him always late for the office. He feels lazy at work and manages to complete his tasks in a half-hearted manner. He doesn't get along well with his colleagues and comes home exhausted in the evening. He watches web series late into the night, and this routine repeats daily, trapping him in an average life loop. Many of you can relate to Rahul's situation. Today, most people are caught up in their bad habits. They want to break free but can't, simply because they are trying to open the right lock with the wrong key. Generally, when we try to change our habits, we use the formula of cues, routines, and rewards from the book The Power of Habit. But it doesn't always work. This is because, in today's digital age, cues tend to present themselves inevitably, and we find ourselves following the routine linked to those cues, slipping back into old habits. So, what's the permanent solution? Instead of focusing on the cues, we need to change our brain, to reprogram it in just one day. But the big question is, how? Loretta Graziano Bruning, in her book Habits of a Happy Brain, provides insights into the human brain in detail. In this video, you will discover interesting facts about your brain and get precise answers to essential questions about your life that you won't find anywhere else on the internet. You will also learn about a brain theory based on evolution that can easily solve many of your life's problems. Furthermore, you'll find out what happens in a newborn's brain at birth and how it rewires itself as it grows. You'll even learn about the chemicals in the brain that release happiness and how we can stimulate the release of these chemicals. Most importantly, you'll see how you can reprogram your brain to easily develop any good habit and eliminate even the worst habits or addictions from your life. So, if you're ready, like the video, and let's get started. Evolution of the human brain, Triun brain theory. Do you know how the human brain evolved? If not, listen to this interesting fact. Life on Earth began with some microorganisms in the sea. Due to evolution, these organisms eventually transformed into fish, reptiles, and mammals. Based on this evolutionary theory, Paul MacLean proposed the Triun brain theory in the 1960s, which states that our brain has 3 layers developed through evolution. The first layer is the reptilian brain, the oldest layer that is generally found in reptiles and ancient creatures. Due to evolution, it has become a part of our brain that controls survival functions like breathing, heart rate, and body temperature. This brain layer limits us and prevents us from trying new things. You can think of it as the center of fear, where fear is generated. The second layer is the limbic system, which was present in early mammals. This layer allows us to experience emotions, anxiety, sexual desires, and parental care. Now, the last layer is the neocortex, the most developed brain layer found in highly evolved mammals and humans. It enables us to learn, solve problems, and communicate. Additionally, it allows us to control complex emotions. This layer is so powerful that it can also control the fears generated by the reptilian brain. This is why powerful people, even when afraid, can face their fears with the help of the higher brain layer, the neocortex, and eventually overcome them. Now, having understood the evolution of life and the brain, let's move to the present time and see how a newborn's brain adapts to this world. This information will be crucial in forming new habits or eliminating bad ones. So, pay close attention. Your brain, between 0 to 7 years. When a child is born, their brain has no thoughts. It contains only 2 instincts inherited from ancestors, survival and happiness. In other words, the baby's brain knows it must survive and be happy at all costs. As the child grows, they continuously collect experiences, and based on those experiences, their brain rewires itself. By the age of 7, the brain completes its circuit. It's noteworthy that the brain creates this circuit based on the child's experiences, not logic. Let me tell you, changing the brain circuits formed in childhood is not easy. That's why some people cannot quickly forget traumatic incidents that occurred in their childhood. We send children to schools and colleges to change these brain circuits. Education alters some aspects of childhood brain circuits, but not enough for us to live the lives we desire. The educational institutes teach us about business and jobs, helping us navigate life. However, the fault is not just in the education system. We also share the blame. While we learn in our teenage years, we often don't learn anything during adulthood and old age, which leads to feelings of depression and only experiencing happiness in brief moments. But have you ever thought about why we feel happy or sad? Is our brain responsible for this? Honestly, it's not just the brain. The entire brain plays a role. The release of 4 happy chemicals in our brain is the main reason behind our emotional highs and lows. You can remember these 4 happy chemicals with the magical sentence, D-O-S-E, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These 4 chemicals will fill your life with happiness. If they are not produced in your brain, your life will be filled with depression. Your brain releases these 4 happy chemicals under one condition. They release when certain conditions are met, resulting in happiness, and you repeat that action. Let's explore each chemical in the DOSE sequence and understand them better. Dopamine. Starting with dopamine, it is released when you achieve something. For example, a drug or porn addict's brain releases dopamine while indulging in those activities. To attain that happiness repeatedly, they consume more drugs or watch hardcore porn. If you want to break free from a porn addiction, comment below, and I'll create a powerful video that will help you eliminate porn addiction forever. In fact, this video can help you overcome any type of addiction. As you keep watching, everything will become clear. You may have noticed that most people fail to achieve their long-term goals because the rewards associated with those goals come too late, causing them to lose motivation and patience. However, long-term goals can be easily achieved. Break down your major goals into smaller pieces, and every time you achieve a piece, reward yourself. This will release dopamine in your brain and become a source of motivation for you, making it easier to achieve even the biggest goals. Oxytocin. Next, we have oxytocin, which is released when you are with people you trust deeply. This chemical's release explains why you feel good when you're with your trusted people. Additionally, you feel good when you are around harmless animals like cows, dogs, or cats, because there is a sense of mutual trust. They won't harm you, and in return, you won't harm them. Now, if you don't have a good relationship with your family, you can meet friends or go online to connect with like-minded individuals in your preferred online communities. You can also find people like Sandeep Maheshwari or Muddassir online, whose words you can trust. Remember, wherever there is trust, oxytocin production follows. Endorphins. Moving on to endorphins, they are produced when you experience pain, acting as a painkiller for you. Pain comes in 2 types: physical pain, like an injury, and emotional pain, like mental trauma. In both cases, endorphins are released to alleviate your pain. Another important point, crying also releases endorphins. So if you ever felt that way, you understand how these chemicals impact our emotions and behaviors, contributing to our overall happiness. It is said that crying can lessen sadness. This actually happens because of endorphins. That's why people say that after losing someone, one should cry, as it helps release the sadness. So if you're in pain, you should cry. Stop saying things like, "Why are you crying like a girl?" There's happiness hidden in crying. Always remember that. Now, the last happy chemical is serotonin. This is released when you receive respect from someone or give respect to someone. For example, when you receive an award for your achievements, you feel a lot of happiness. Similarly, those who appreciate others' success and applaud them feel good by giving respect. However, people who are jealous of others always feel bad because they don't release serotonin. Did you know that clapping also activates pressure points in your hands, which exercises your internal organs? So, do you understand? Start appreciating people instead of being jealous of them, because appreciation is a profitable deal. Learn to be happy in others' happiness. Otherwise, people will stop inviting you to share their joys. Now let's move on to the next point of this video, how the brain rewires itself. Up until now, you've understood how the brain evolves and how it prepares its circuits, along with the 4 happy chemicals that make us feel good in life. However, you might still be wondering how to reprogram your brain and stop bad habits while developing new ones. You will find answers to these questions. As you know, without a programming language, no software can be created. Just like no one can win a game without understanding its rules, you cannot reprogram your brain until you truly understand how it works. The code Know, Understand, and Apply fits perfectly here. It says you should first know, then understand, and finally apply. According to this code, first, you will learn how the brain works, understand it, and then reprogram it to form new habits or eliminate old ones. Our brain weighs about 1,300 grams and consumes 25% of the energy from what we eat. There are millions of neurons in the brain that work like information messengers. In simple terms, neurons use electrical and chemical signals to send information from one part of the brain to another, through the spinal cord and throughout the body. Each neuron has a structure called synapse on both the front and back, allowing it to connect with another neuron using electric current. Did you find it surprising that there is electricity in the brain? Electric current flows through our brain, and its speed determines how strongly 2 neurons will connect. Earlier, I told you about the 2 major ways to change brain neuron patterns. Up until the age of 7, the brain completes its circuit, meaning one neuron connects with another, then that one with a third, and so on, forming strong connections. Breaking this neuron pattern is not easy, but the good news is that it is also not impossible. To form any new neuron pattern and weaken old patterns, you can do just 2 things. Strong emotions. Emotions are a powerful tool that can increase the speed of the current flowing through your brain, creating strong neuron connections. When these emotions become very strong, the speed of the current increases exponentially, and the neuron patterns in the brain change drastically. This generally happens during life-changing events. The author shares some stories highlighting this. The first story is about a 60-year-old man who often got angry. One day, due to his anger, he had a heart attack, but survived. After this life-changing event, he decided to stop being angry forever. In the second story, a father loved his daughter very much, but she died in a road accident. After that incident, he started drinking alcohol, even though he had never touched alcohol before. So you can see how major events can change people's lives for better or worse. Leveraging reputation. Reputation is key. It can change the brain's neuron patterns, but it takes more time. It's a slow and continuous process, whereas the first method is fast and instant. The author explains this using the example of Milo, who was the most powerful fighter of his time. No one could defeat him in a fight because of his reputation. Milo knew that one couldn't become powerful in a single day, so he chose the path of reputation. He lifted a calf on his back every day, and over several years, that calf grew into a big bull, which he could still lift easily. His reputation made him the most powerful man of his time. This is a true story. The more strong connections you build, the stronger the neuron connections become, and you become an expert in that area. For example, when you learned to ride a bicycle, you fell several times, but gradually you learned to balance it. Similarly, when you learned to drive a car, you got confused between the brake, clutch, and accelerator, but after some time you became an expert and drove automatically without thinking. This is how our brain rewires itself. After understanding the workings of the brain, the next step is to reprogram it so that all your bad habits vanish and good habits come into your life, making you successful. Form a new habit and stop addiction. Many people make a mistake at this point. They try to develop multiple habits at once. However, their brain resists this. See, change is not welcomed by anyone in the world, and this is equally true for our brains. If you decide to form just one good habit at a time, your brain will still resist it, but not as much as it would for multiple changes at once. The author mentions that forming or breaking any new habit takes the brain about 40 days. To complete this, he suggests just 2 actions. Be responsible. Take charge of your life and be ready to walk down any unfamiliar path. Replacement technique. You need to replace your bad habits with good ones. For example, Mark was a chain smoker whose habit caused chaos in his life. One day, he decided to change his life. However, he knew that quitting his bad habit wouldn't be easy, so he used the replacement technique. Whenever he felt the urge to smoke, he would start painting instead. Initially, it was difficult, but gradually his craving for cigarettes diminished, and after 40 days, it was completely gone. You can also follow this action plan, which includes just 2 things: responsibility and replacement. To reprogram your brain, just having an action plan is not enough. You also need 3 tools: mirroring, balancing, and analogy. Let's understand these 3 tools. Mirroring the experts. During these 40 days, you should focus on just one thing, using either the replacement technique or repetition. During your 40-day journey, you should also seek help from experts. For instance, my writer needed to write scripts for foreign creators, so he took 40 days to learn American English. During this learning phase, he started watching videos of experts like Dr. S. Jaishankar and Shashi Tharoor. After 40 days, he improved his writing and speaking and soon got an opportunity to work with a foreign creator. Balancing. During these 40 days, you should not only aim to achieve small successes to gain dopamine, but also release all 4 chemicals in a balanced way. To firmly establish your new habit in the brain, you need to do 4 things: learn, for dopamine; communicate, for oxytocin; exercise and stretch, for endorphins; and help others, for serotonin. This way, all the happy chemicals are released, keeping the chemical balance in the brain and strengthening the new habit. Analogy. You might have heard Elon Musk talking about first principles thinking, which means breaking down a problem into its basic elements and analyzing it. However, this can be hard and time-consuming, so instead, you should use analogy. In India, many great people have used this method, one of whom was Chanakya. In Chanakya Niti, he used analogies from animals and birds to convey life lessons. For example, one Chanakya Niti saying teaches that you can learn 3 things from a donkey: stay away from laziness, don't worry about the weather, and be content. Analogy means connecting new and unknown information with already known information, helping you remember things better. Story-based analogies are even more powerful. For instance, memory champions often remember things through story-based analogies. You could remember the 3 words girl, bus, and waiting, like this: a girl was waiting for a bus at the bus stand. With these 2 action plans and 3 tools, you can easily stop any addiction and build new habits. Remember to work on one habit at a time. Otherwise, you won't achieve anything. If you're still watching this video, please like it and comment yes, so I know who made it this far. Now, I will conclude this video. Summary. In this video, you learned a lot about the secrets of your brain. You saw how our brain evolves and how it develops in a newborn. You also learned how the 4 happy chemicals in the brain influence our feelings of happiness or sadness based on our actions. Additionally, you discovered how the brain rewires itself and, based on this knowledge, how to reprogram your brain to stop any addiction and develop new habits. Overall, you understood how our brain works. But do you know how life works? If not, make sure to watch the right video. Once you understand how the brain and life work, nothing can stop you from being unstoppable in life. Finally, you guys are amazing. Keep reading, keep learning, and keep growing. Thank you for watching.